How could he possibly know that?
Most people don't realize how exposed they really are. Your phone number, your email, your address. Little pieces of you drift around the internet like dust. And every once in a while, someone who shouldn't have access to you finds you anyway. My name is Samuel, and until one night last November, I thought I was one of the lucky ones, the people who hear horror stories but never experience any themselves. I lived alone in a ground floor apartment in Seattle while working late nights as a freelance graphic designer. I loved the quiet. I loved the peace. I loved the feeling of being in control of my own space. That night taught me I was never really in control at all. It was close to midnight when everything started. The kind of Seattle night where the rain isn't heavy, just constant, soft enough to make you forget it's there, loud enough to swallow every other sound. I was in the middle of a project, leaning forward at my desk, fully locked into my work, when my phone lit up beside me. No ringtone, just the screen glowing with a new message. It wasn't my girlfriend. It wasn't anyone I knew. A Seattle area code, a number I didn't recognize. "Did you leave the back door unlocked?" At first, I actually laughed. It was so casual, so normal, so obviously a wrong number. I pictured some drunk roommate standing outside in the rain, arguing with the door, wondering why he couldn't get in. I texted back, "Wrong number. I live alone," and I went right back to work. Not even 30 seconds passed before the phone buzzed again. "I know you live alone, Samuel." I froze. Hearing your name from someone you don't know hits differently. It's like someone whispering directly into your ear, even though you're absolutely alone. My first thought was, this has to be Chris, one of my friends who loved messing with me. This was exactly the kind of prank he'd pull. I typed, "Nice one, Chris." Or is this Mark? Cut it out. I'm busy. The typing bubbles appeared. They didn't disappear. They just hovered there, like whoever was on the other side was taking their sweet time figuring out how to respond. Then the message came. "It isn't Chris, and it isn't Mark. You should check the back door, Samuel." This time I didn't laugh. My apartment had two back doors. One was the sliding glass door in the living room leading to the patio. The other was the service door in the laundry room that opened into a dark, isolated alley. I walked to the sliding glass door first, locked, solid. I took a photo of it, annoyed, but trying to stay calm. Photo sent, "See, locked. Enough already." "Who is this?" Their reply was instant. "That's the sliding door." I said, "The back door, the real back door, the one I never touched." Something cold slid down my spine as I headed for the laundry room. The motion-activated hallway light flickered to life, buzzing faintly. I shoved my laundry hamper aside and stared at the door. The deadbolt was unlocked. My heart thumped so hard, I felt it in my throat. I knew with absolute certainty I had never ever unlocked that door. I didn't even use it. In the 6 months I had lived there, I'd kept it blocked off with a hamper. I didn't think. I lunged at the door and threw the bolt hard enough to rattle the frame. Every instinct in my body screamed that someone had touched that handle. Someone had been on the other side of that door. Someone knew my layout. I sprinted to the kitchen, grabbed the biggest knife I owned, and stood there shaking, staring at the dark hallway like it might swallow me whole. I typed back with trembling fingers, "Who are you?" "I'm calling the cops." The reply came instantly, like they were waiting. "Don't. We're just talking. I wanted to make sure you were safe. People get careless. How did you know the door was unlocked?" 5 seconds. 10, 15. The message appeared. "Because I tried it 10 minutes ago." The room seemed to tilt. He had been at my door while I was sitting right there in the living room, completely unaware. If the hamper hadn't been there blocking the door from fully opening, I didn't want to finish that thought. My hand shook violently as I dialed 911, so badly that I typed 991 the first time. When I finally got through, the operator told me officers were nearby, but it would take around 15 minutes. 15 minutes sounded like a death sentence. As soon as I hung up, another text came through. "You called the police." That's disappointing. I thought we were bonding. I stared at the message. in horror. How did he know? The phone buzzed again. They're 10 minutes away. I'm much closer. I killed every light in the living room. Total darkness except the faint glow of my laptop screen. Then another message, smart. But your laptop is still on. It's giving you away, Samuel. I can see your shadow. I slammed the laptop shut and dove behind the kitchen island, gripping the knife so tightly the handle dug into my palm. Silence. Then I didn't want to look, but I did. It was a photo. A photo taken through my blinds from outside, my living room, my laptop glowing, and me standing there staring at my phone. A chill ran from my scalp to my toes. I forced myself to look at the sliding glass door. The blinds were gently swaying, very lightly, like someone had brushed against them. I lifted my gaze to the lock. The latch was up, unlocked. And slowly, so slowly, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, the handle began to turn. When you're truly terrified, your body reacts before your brain can form a plan. That's what happened when I saw the sliding door handle begin to move. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't jerk or rattle. It just turned. Smoothly. Like whoever was on the other side was testing how quietly they could slip inside. My chest tightened so fast I couldn't breathe. The rain outside suddenly sounded deafening, hammering against the patio, masking every other noise. The vertical blinds trembled from the subtle movement of air. I didn't run. I didn't scream. Something primal took over, an instinct I didn't even know I had. My hand clenched around the knife, and I exploded from behind the kitchen island with a roar that didn't sound human. Get away from my door. The figure on the other side didn't expect that. In the second the door slid open an inch, I slammed it shut with every ounce of strength I had. My palm hit the glass so hard it stung. Outside, the hooded shape stumbled backward into the wet grass, arms flailing for balance, but they didn't fall. They regained posture almost immediately and stood there, staring at me. Just a dark silhouette in a dripping black hood, not moving, not speaking. The phone buzzed. Against my better judgment, I looked down. You're fast, but you can't stay awake forever. My blood went cold. The figure turned and sprinted through the parking lot with unnatural speed, vanishing into the shadows, just as blue and red lights washed across the street. The cops arrived 2 minutes later. When I say I nearly collapsed when I saw them, I'm not exaggerating. I opened the front door so fast, I almost ripped the chain lock out of the wall. 2 officers came inside, sweeping every room with flashlights while I explained everything in choking breaths. They found muddy boot prints on the patio, still fresh. Size 11, heavy tread. They found cigarette butts on the edge of the concrete, still warm from the rain. But they didn't find him. I showed them the texts, the photos, the officer handling my phone. Officer Miller kept shaking his head as he scrolled. These look like messages from a burner app, he said. Untraceable. Could be anyone. But then he said something that genuinely nauseated me. If he knew your back door was unlocked, he's probably been watching your apartment for a while. That sentence carved itself into my mind. For a while, the police told me I should stay somewhere else for the night. They patrolled the complex while I shoved clothes into a bag. I didn't want to go into any other room alone, but I forced myself. As I leaned behind my bedroom nightstand to unplug my charger, my fingers brushed something taped to the back. A small square object. A camera. A tiny live feed camera wired to a portable battery pack, pointed directly at my bed. My knees actually buckled. That corner of my room was always dark. I never noticed anything, and the camera had been taped neatly behind the furniture, just enough space to see me, but not enough for me to see it. When I ran back outside and showed the officers, their entire demeanor changed. What was a prowler became something much worse. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed at my girlfriend Maya's apartment across town. She tried to calm me down, but I was wired with fear, alert, jumpy, every sound making me flinch. I had blocked the unknown number. I thought that would be enough. But at 3:33 a.m., my phone lit up again. Not a call, not a text. An airdrop request. Someone within 30 feet wanted to send me a photo. The device name was unfamiliar. iPhone 2 would like to share a photo. My breath caught in my throat. AirDrop doesn't reach across buildings or streets. Whoever it was close. Very close. I hit decline. 5 seconds later, it popped up again. I accepted it. I shouldn't have, but I had to. The photo filled my screen. It was me, sleeping in Maya's bed. The picture had been taken from her bedroom doorway exactly 2 minutes earlier. I scrambled off the bed so fast, Maya woke up screaming. We tore through the apartment, but nobody was there. Every door was still locked. Every window was closed. There was no sign of a break-in, but someone had been inside, long enough to take a photo of me sleeping and leave without a sound. The police came again. They didn't find anything. No footprints, no fingerprints, no signs of forced entry. For the next week, I barely slept. I quit my freelance job. I moved out of my apartment. Maya begged me to get a new phone, but I didn't want another device that could be tracked, hacked, or connected. I switched to a basic flip phone with no camera, no features, nothing. Eventually, things quieted down. Eventually, I convinced myself the nightmare was over. But some nights when I'm walking home or sitting in a cafe or waiting at a bus stop, I hear it. The default ding of an iPhone notification. I freeze every time. I look around, and I wonder if the person behind iPhone 2 is still nearby, watching, waiting for the moment when I finally let my guard down again. Grief does something to your brain that no doctor can fully explain. It twists reality. It blurs lines that used to be clear. It makes you look for signs where there aren't any, and ignore the kinds of signs you should run from. My name is Ella, and 3 weeks ago something happened to me and my 2 closest friends that I still don't have the words for. Something that made me realize every horror story about digital ghosts has one thing in common. They don't start with the dead coming back. They start with the living not letting go. There were 4 of us, me, Mark, Jess, and Ben. We called ourselves the Quad. Freshman year, it sounded stupid. By senior year, it was basically our identity. We studied together, ate together, and survived college one chaos-filled night at a time. But 2 months ago, everything shattered. Ben died. A rainy night, a sharp turn, a split-second mistake, and he was gone before any of us could get there. I remember seeing the wreckage, his car folded in on itself like an aluminum can. His phone was destroyed in the crash. The police handed what was left of it to his parents in a Ziploc bag. After the funeral, after the tears and the family gatherings and the endless casseroles, we found ourselves staring at our old group chat, the Quad completely silent. None of us wanted to delete it. Deleting it felt like deleting him. Weeks passed. Life didn't go on, but it moved, slowly. And eventually, we started using the chat again. Little things at first. Miss you guys? You holding up thinking of Ben tonight? It became a place to grieve together. Until last Tuesday, it was around 1 a.m. The campus library was closing soon, and I was home studying for my last round of finals. My desk was a graveyard of coffee cups and highlighters. Everything was quiet. Then my phone buzzed. A new message in the Quad. I glanced at it, expecting Jess. She barely slept these days. But when I saw the name, all the blood drained from my face. Ben Hay. I sat there frozen, waiting for my brain to catch up. There was the name. There was the goofy profile picture he took with a pair of oversized sunglasses. It all looked real. Except Ben had been in the ground for 8 weeks. Before I could process it, another message appeared. Ben, is anyone up? It's really cold here. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. This had to be a hack, a sick joke, someone in our class getting access to his old accounts. Mark jumped in immediately. He's the type to respond with anger before fear. Whoever this is, stop. This isn't funny. Jess chimed in seconds later. Is this some kind of hack? Please stop. I'm actually shaking. I swallowed hard and typed, this isn't okay. Whoever you are, leave this group right now. The typing bubbles appeared. Then, Ben, guys, it's me. Why are you all acting weird? I just want to come home. My heart dropped. I didn't want to look at the screen anymore, but I couldn't stop. Mark responded, not funny, I'm blocking this account. But then came a message that stopped all of us cold. Mark, stopped being such a hothead. Remember when we stole that traffic cone freshman year? You still keep it in your closet. That story wasn't public. It was something stupid we did at 2 a.m. after a frat party, the kind of thing only the four of us knew us, and maybe a few drunk witnesses. Jess typed, how do you know that? Who the hell is this? The bubbles appeared again. Ben, and I don't know what happened. 1 minute I was driving, and then I was here. It's dark, it's wet. My stomach twisted. Something about that description made me feel physically sick. I typed, Ben died. Stop pretending to be him. If you don't stop, we will call the police. The reply came instantly, like he was waiting for it. Ella, look at the last picture I sent you privately, the one from the library. My hands trembled as I opened our old DM thread. The last photo was still there, a picture he sent hours before the crash. A weird doodle he'd found in a textbook. The timestamp was untouched. I went back to the chat. I'm cold, Ella. Why didn't you pick up the phone that night I dropped the phone? I had never told anyone about that call. He called me 10 minutes before the accident. I missed it because I was in the shower. I'd been carrying that guilt silently ever since. Mark typed, don't respond. It's a hacker. Cloud backups leak info. They must have seen the logs. But something deep inside me, something instinctive, knew that wasn't it. Then, the message that changed everything, I'm outside. The room felt colder instantly, like the air itself tensed. Mark replied, outside where, which apartment, Ben? All of you? I can see all of you. Jess's message came in shaky, frantic bursts. Guys, someone is knocking on my window. She lived on the second floor. Mark replied, Jess, lock your door. I'm coming. Then, don't drive, Mark. Roads are slippery. They weren't. The pavement had been dry for days. Before any of us could respond, a new message arrived. Ben image sent. I hesitated. Then I tapped it. The picture opened, and my breath caught in my throat. It was the interior of a car. Ben's car. The dashboard lights glowed faintly. The speedometer read 0. And outside the windshield was Jess's dorm building. But what made me drop the phone was the reflection in the rearview mirror. The driver wasn't fully human anymore. It was a wet, twisted shape in a red baseball cap, Ben's lucky cap. Jess sent another message. Someone is scratching my door. It sounds wet. I felt like I was going to pass out. Then came a voice message from Ben, 4 seconds long. I pressed play. A slow, wet inhale, a gurgling exhale, and then the distorted whisper, let me in. That's when my phone rang. Caller ID Ben. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. And everything got worse. When I answered that call, I felt like I had just made the biggest mistake of my life. Hello, I whispered. For a moment there was nothing, just a hiss of static, like someone dragging sandpaper across a microphone. Then I heard something worse. It was me. My own voice repeating the same word I had just spoken. Hello? Not an echo, not feedback, a recording. A recording of my voice played back at me in real time. My heart thudded so loudly I could hear it over the static. Then the voice changed. It dropped into something deeper, raspier. Wrong. He's not here right now, it growled. But I am. The call ended. I stared at my screen, frozen in place, too scared to breathe. Before I could even process what I'd just heard, something else happened. My laptop screen flickered. The webcam light turned on. A new window popped up, taking over my entire screen. It was a live video feed of my room. My room. At that exact moment, I saw myself sitting at my desk, holding my phone, face drained of all color. But behind me, I wasn't alone. In the video feed, standing in the corner of my bedroom, half swallowed by shadow, was a man. Tall, wearing a black hoodie, a ski mask, completely still. And he was holding a phone. My phone slipped out of my hand. I didn't scream. I didn't turn around. Because something deep inside me, something primal, knew that if I turned my head even an inch, I would see him standing there, watching me. Instead, instinct took over. I dove out of the chair, crawling across the floor so fast, my knees burned. The second I moved, the man in the feed moved too. Boots thundered across my bedroom floor. He lunged. I felt his fingers brush my ankle cold and strong, closing around the fabric of my sweatpants for a split second. I kicked back with everything I had. My heel slammed into his shin. He grunted, tightening his grip for a moment, then released. That tiny moment saved my life. I scrambled into the hallway, slammed the bedroom door, and threw my entire weight against it. My feet planted on the rug, pushing back with all the strength I had left. The door shook violently. He slammed into it from the other side. Ella. His voice wasn't digital anymore. It was loud, breathy, real. Too real. Open the door. We need to talk about Ben. Go away, I screamed, sobbing. I called the police. The banging stopped. For a terrifying second, the only sound was my shaky breathing. Then he spoke again. Calm now, almost amused. Mark isn't coming, he said. And Jess is busy. The doorknob violently twisted under my palm. I knew right then I couldn't hold him much longer. I made a split-second decision. I let go of the doorknob, spun around, and sprinted down the hallway toward the front door. Behind me, the bedroom door exploded open, slamming into the wall. I could hear him chasing me. Heavy boots pounding the floor, getting closer. I fumbled with the deadbolt, my fingers slipping from sweat and panic. Come on, come on. The lock finally clicked. I threw the door open and burst into the breezeway, screaming at the top of my lungs, "Fire, fire, help!" People respond faster to fire than danger. And thank God they did. Lights flickered on in the surrounding units. Someone opened a door. Another neighbor stepped outside. I didn't stop running until I reached the parking lot, diving behind a row of cars. My chest was burning, my vision blurry. I stared up at my apartment windows. I expected to see him, expected him to climb out, expected the chase to continue. But nothing happened. The apartment stayed dark, silent. 4 minutes later, 2 police cars screeched into the lot. Mark showed up right after, pale, shaking, holding a tire iron like he wasn't sure how to use it. The police stormed the apartment. What they found chilled me to the bone. The window in my bedroom was wide open. The screen had been cut cleanly from the outside. He was gone. But what they discovered on my laptop was somehow worse. A rat remote access Trojan had been installed months ago. Someone had full access to my webcam, my microphone, every file, every password, every keystroke. He had been watching us, listening to us, entering our group chat using cloned accounts and manipulated audio from old videos Ben posted online. He pieced together Ben's voice like puzzle fragments. I-stitched syllables, spliced breaths, recreated tone. Enough to fool software, enough to fool us. And the connection logs confirmed one thing. It wasn't a ghost. It was a person, but not just anyone. His name was Elias, a quiet guy from one of our freshman classes, sat in the back row, always in a hoodie, never spoke unless forced to. I had exchanged maybe 5 sentences with him total. When the police raided his dorm room, Elias wasn't there. He was already gone. But they found something worse. A wall of photos. Of me, of Mark, of Jess, of Ben, some taken from bushes, some from parking lots, some through windows. He had been watching us for years, listening to us, studying us, learning everything about our group. And when Ben died, Elias saw an opening. He didn't want to replace Ben. He wanted to become him. We deleted the group chat. We got new phones, new passwords, new everything. And Jess hasn't slept alone since that night. But the worst part, the part I still can't shake, is how it ended. Last week I got a text from an unknown number. A single message, no preview, just one small audio file. I didn't listen to it. I deleted it instantly. But before I did, I saw the file size. Just large enough for 2 whispered words. and in my gut, I knew exactly what they were. Let me in. If you've ever used Craigslist OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, you probably know the feeling, that mix of excitement and caution when you spot a deal that looks too good to be true. I've done hundreds of online meetups, and I always felt comfortable because I knew the rules. Meet in public, bring a friend, trust your instincts. But here's the truth. Greed will shut your instincts up real fast. My name is Ryan. I'm a musician, or at least I'm trying to be. I repair old audio gear and flip it to pay rent. Synthesizers, drum machines, amps, you name it. I've scored some insane finds. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what I saw posted one Thursday afternoon. It was buried 10 pages deep in the electronics section of Craigslist, a place where 90% of listings are spam or broken microwaves. But this one caught my eye. Old music equipment, attic cleanout, $150, must take all. The thumbnail was awful blurry, dim lighting, just a pile of boxes and cables. But sticking out under a tarp was something unmistakable. A tiny corner of a Roland Jupiter 8 synthesizer. If you don't know what that is, think Holy Grail. Vintage, rare, worth 10 grand, easily more if it's clean. And this person was selling the entire pile for $150. My heart jumped into my throat. The kind of excitement that short-circuits every sensible thought in your head. I clicked the listing, clearing out my late husband's studio. Don't know what any of this is. Must go today. Text only. There was a phone number. I texted immediately. Hi, interested in the music equipment. Available. I can come now with cash. My hands actually shook while waiting. A minute passed. Then seller, yes, you're the first. Can you come now? I have to leave by 6. Perfect. I asked for the address. 44402 Blackwood Road. Look for the red mailbox. I knew the area, rural but not abandoned. Maybe 40 minutes out of the city. I told him I was on my way, grabbed my emergency cash, and ran out the door. I didn't call a friend, didn't tell my roommate, didn't think. I just wanted that synth. The drive out there felt endless. After 20 minutes, the houses thinned out. After 30, the road turned to gravel. My phone signal dropped to 1 bar. The forest lining Blackwood Road swallowed the light as the sun went down. By the time I saw the red mailbox, the sky was bruised purple. 40402 Blackwood Road was off. A small beat-up ranch house yard, overgrown paint peeling, curtains drawn tight. An old sedan in the driveway with a flat tire. It didn't look like a home undergoing a sale. It looked like a place nobody had lived in for years. I pulled in slowly, killed the engine, listened. Nothing. Not wind, not animals, not even traffic. Just silence. I texted, "I'm here." No reply. I got out of the car, walked to the porch, and knocked on the door. The screen door hung crookedly torn open like an animal had clawed through it. "Hello," I called. No answer. Just when I was about to turn around and leave, I heard a dull thud from inside the house, followed by the sound of a lock turning. The door cracked open 6 inches. And instead of the widow, I expected a man peered out. He was in his 40s, hair, greasy eyes, sunken face, pale, like he hadn't seen daylight in weeks. He wore a stained t-shirt, one sleeve ripped. "You the guy," he rasps. "Yeah," I said cautiously. "Ryan," I texted. He nodded slowly, scanning me from head to toe. His eyes flicked to my car, back to me. His lips curled into a strange half-smile. "You alone." My stomach dropped. Red flag number 1. I lied. "My friend's in the car. He's on a work call." The man's gaze shifted to my empty passenger seat, fully visible through untinted windows. He smirked. "Right, the friend." He then opened the door wider and motioned me in. "Stuff's in the basement. Heavy. Need your help bringing it up. Red flag number 2, basement." I hesitated. "Actually, I can wait out here. Or maybe you can bring up one piece so I can see it first." The friendly act evaporated from his face. His jaw tightened. His eyes hardened. "It's an estate sale," he said, voice low. "Not a negotiation. You want it. Take it." I swallowed. "Your listing said you didn't know what the equipment was." He grinned, a slow, unnatural grin. "There's a Jupiter 8 down there," he said softly, and that was red flag number 3. He knew exactly what he had. He was lying from the start. My instincts finally screamed louder than my greed. I left my cash at home. I lied again. "Sorry for the trouble." I turned to leave. That's when my phone buzzed. Despite having no signal earlier, suddenly it went through. "Seller, don't lie to me, Ryan." A chill shot through my body. I turned back slowly. The man stood in the doorway holding his phone, staring at me. Another buzz. "I can see the outline of your wallet in your front pocket." My blood ran cold. I reached for my keys, my hand trembling, and dropped them. The man stepped off the porch. He was bigger than I realized. Broad shoulders, heavy boots. "Pick them up," he said softly. I lunged for my keys. "You know," he said, taking a slow step toward me, "my mother really did live here. She died 2 weeks ago." I unlocked the car door with shaking hands. "But," he continued, voice dropping to a whisper, "she didn't have a husband." My heart stopped. "And we don't own any music equipment." That's when he ran. I dove inside my car, slammed the door shut, just as his arm swung around. Smash! My window exploded inward, showering me with glass. I screamed. His hand shot through the broken window and grabbed my shirt, yanking me toward him. "Get out!" He roared, his face inches from mine. His breath was hot and sour like rotting meat. I slammed my foot on the gas. The tires spun on gravel. The car jerked forward, and he held on. For a horrifying second, he ran alongside the car, leaning through the broken window, fingers hooked into my shirt, trying to pull me out. I swerved left. He lost his grip. He stumbled, fell, disappeared behind a cloud of gravel dust. I didn't slow down, didn't look back. I didn't stop until I hit paved road. I pulled into a gas station, shaking so hard I could barely breathe. My hands were bleeding from the glass. My shirt was torn open. I finally grabbed my phone to call 911. That's when I saw it. A new message, sent 1 minute ago. "You dropped something." A photo followed. It was my wallet, my address, everything. "Nice license photo. You live at 1204 Elm Street, Apt 4B. Not too far. I'll be seeing you soon, Ryan." I didn't drive home. I didn't even drive toward my part of town. I sped straight to the nearest police station with the wind howling through the shattered window like a siren. I must have looked like a maniac walking inside, shirt-ripped arms, bleeding, covered in glass, trembling so hard I could barely hold my phone. I slapped the phone on the counter and stammered out what happened. The officer's face darkened. They took me seriously immediately. Within 10 minutes, 2 patrol cars were dispatched to 4402 Blackwood Road. I sat in the lobby with a cup of coffee that tasted like metal, staring at the door every time it opened. Every sound made me flinch. Every footstep made my skin crawl. I kept thinking the man was behind me, or following me, or pulling up outside. 3 hours passed before the officers returned. When they walked toward me, I knew the news wasn't good. The farmhouse was abandoned, completely empty. No electricity, no running water. It had been foreclosed 2 years ago, but that wasn't the worst part. In the basement where he tried to lure me, they found a mattress on the floor, a bucket, duct tape, zip ties. No music equipment, no boxes, no synthesizers, just a setup for kidnapping. The listing photo I saw earlier, the boxes were empty, hastily spray-painted black to look like gear cases. He built the entire trap specifically to lure someone like me, someone who knew the value of a Jupiter 8, someone desperate enough to chase a miracle deal. And the biggest punch to the gut. The police said the photo from the listing was taken inside the house days earlier. Proof he'd been preparing for a while. Someone like me was the target, not random, me. They asked if I wanted a patrol car to escort me home. I told them no. Because I wasn't going home, he had my address now. I called my brother. Instead, he lived in a high-rise across the city with a doorman and 24/7 cameras. I stayed on his couch for 3 nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the man's face pressed against the broken glass. or imagined his footsteps behind me. By the fourth day, I had to go back to my apartment. I needed clothes, had to feed my fish, had to prove to myself that the nightmare was over. My brother insisted on coming with me. It was daytime. People were outside, cars filled the street. It felt safe. My apartment looked exactly as I left it, quiet, untouched, empty, or so I thought. I collected my mail, gathered clothes, tried to calm my nerves. My brother stood near the window, peeking through the blinds. "See," he said, "nobody's watching, he's long gone." I wanted to believe him so badly. I walked into the bedroom and reached for a few shirts. Then, I noticed something on my bed, something sitting perfectly centered on my pillow, a small brown leather square. My wallet. My knees nearly gave out. That wallet had been in the man's hand when he threatened me. I never got it back. The police never found it. Yet here it was, in my locked apartment, placed neatly on my pillow. I whispered, "Mike, get in here." My brother ran in and froze when he saw it. "Did the cops drop that off?" he asked. "No," I said, "I haven't talked to them today. We checked every door, every window, every lock. No forced entry." I picked up the wallet with a pen, too terrified to touch it. The cash and cards were gone, but something else was inside. A folded piece of paper wedged in the cash slot. I unfolded it slowly. It was a gas station receipt. On the back, written in uneven handwriting, "You have a lovely singing voice in the shower, Ryan." I nearly vomited. The shower. He had been here while I was showering, or he had been hiding in here. "We're leaving," my brother said, grabbing my arm. "Now." We didn't even shut the lights. We bolted for the door. As the hallway came into view, my phone buzzed. Another message from the same number. "Leaving so soon." "We haven't even jammed yet." My heart stopped. I spun around, looking down the hallway. Nothing. But the stairwell door at the far end was swinging slowly, closing like someone had just slipped through it. "He's in the building," I whispered. I don't remember running. I don't remember hitting the street. Just the adrenaline, the panic, and the sound of my pulse in my ears. My brother drove us away as fast as he could. When we turned onto the main road, I made the mistake of looking up at my apartment window. The blinds were closed. I had left them open, and between the slats, just a sliver of visibility, I saw him. A pale face, watching us leave. Then a slow, deliberate wave. I broke my lease the next day, paid every fee, didn't pack anything except essential clothes. I didn't want to step foot in that building again. But here's the part that still keeps me awake at night. When the police returned to do a full sweep of the apartment, they found something else. In the closet ceiling, one of the tiles had been moved. Above it was a narrow crawl space. Inside the crawl space was a sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, water bottles, and a small flashlight. But the most horrifying detail, someone had drilled a tiny hole into the ceiling tile. A peephole. It was directly above my bed. The forensics team estimated someone had been living in that crawl space for at least 5 days. 5 days. That means he didn't follow me home from the farmhouse. He didn't break in afterward. He had already been in my apartment before I ever left to see him. He'd been watching me, following me, studying me. He stole my wallet at the farmhouse because he wanted me to know he had it. He wanted me to feel hunted. He wanted me terrified. Sometimes at night in my new apartment in a different state, I still hear faint tapping in the walls, little shifting sounds in the ceiling. I tell myself it's just the pipes, just the house settling. But sometimes I can't shake the thought, what if the marketplace trap wasn't about kidnapping at all? What if he wasn't trying to take me? What if he was just looking for a new place to live? And what if he found one?